Hello and welcome to our Charlas today. I am going to be inviting our Gran Caiman is going to be joining us here soon. Let me see if she joins us. We have Doctora Amalia Alvarez that's going to be joining us here in a second. We were not having any technical difficulties just now.
You get it?
Hello, Amalia.
Hello, hola.
We are so excited for you to join us today. My name is Regina, and I am a director of the board of Hispanic alumni for the University of Florida. We are rocking some Gator gear today. Mira, Amalia.
Yeah, go Gator.
Go Gators. We are so excited for this week and to be hosting our Alumni Charlas. And Amalia is a very distinguished Gator alumni, and it is an honor to be talking to you tonight. And through the Alumni Association, we, not just this week, but this year, especially this week, since it's Gator Giving Day, over the next couple of days, we'll be doing a lot of fundraising, and we're super excited to have you here, Amalia. How are you doing?
Well, gracias. Thank you very much. I've been engaged for 54 years. So I went to UF in 1967. You were not born.
1967.
Yep.
I was not born back then. No.
Of course not. Probably 90% of who's watching were not born.
No,
not even
no.
planning to be born.
No.
But anyway, I was born in Cuba and came in 1962 with Pedro Pan. Pedro Pan, the program that the Catholic Church had for minors that came without the parents. And then I was lucky because my parents came about 3 months later before the October crisis. And we were in Miami, very poor, like many Cubans at the time. But we knew that we had to get an education. My father, we are 4 daughters, and he always said that you had to get an education. You don't need to depend on any man. So
you don't need to depend on any man, of course.
No, he wanted to be sure that we could make it on our own.
Yeah.
And then I went to Miami-Jackson, got my high school, and worked full-time because my father was not making enough money. So in order for my sister to go to UF, I worked full-time and went to Miami day and night, full-time. And then in the sophomore year, I got the John F. Kennedy scholarship. It was the beginning of Head Start, and I got it. And then in 1967, went to summer program at the University of Florida. And 67, by 68, I got the bachelor, and then I started teaching 2 Spanish classes at UF. I was 22, like a butterfly coming in to teach.
Yeah.
And in 74, I got my Ph.D. I'm in Art and Sciences, with a major in history, a major in Portuguese and Spanish. And after the Ph.D., I did supervision and administration. So after the PhD, I taught 2 more years at UF, and then there was an opportunity to be the first supervisor of foreign languages for Alachua public school system. And also I studied English as a second language program in 1977. And that program is still on. The one thing that I always done really is that I always been very involved. When I was at UF, I started the Cuban Association for the students, and I was with the International Club secretary. At that time, I was telling you before, there were only like 600 Latin kids. And I mean,
let's stop there. Yeah, let's stop there and talk about that. How crazy is it that, like, I mean, most of the people that are joining us today in my live, and this is Bella, she was barking at a truck outside, so I brought her up, are going to the university now, and there's 10,000 students in
right.
just in engineering. So How did that
Yeah.
feel being 600
Well, see,
of
the
Hispanics?
university was like 17,000 kids.
Yeah.
So we were
But only
600
600 Hispanics.
Yeah, but we were very united at that time. See, the one that broke up the group because I created the Cuban Student Federation at the time, whatever. But it was very united. And this is funny for whoever has some Cuban. The Cuban didn't have any money. So as a girl, at that time, there were 5 to 1, 5 male to 1 female. In Florida State, there were 5 girls to a boy. So the girls, we had it made. So the Cuban didn't have money, the guy, so I went to coffee break. But then for the weekends, I always went out with Latin American kids. They were the ones that had the money.
Yeah.
So we learned to survive. You know, this is reality for the girls, you know.
Yeah.
And at that time, you had to wait to be invited. It's not like now a girl can invite another person.
Yeah.
So.
You had to drop off all
there
of
was
the
no
Cubans.
money, but we had apartments. So, you know, there were some Nicaraguenses that always, you know, had the parties there and everybody went. So,
Yeah.
but now with 10,000 Latinos, it's totally different.
Yeah,
And,
no, it's so different now. And I think for me, like going to the university now over the past couple of years, you don't get to see them. I remember coming to UF and studying engineering, and I didn't know that that you could be an engineer and still have like the café con leche and play dominoes and have all of that Cuban spirit. Right. So I didn't know that there was engineers that could do that. And at UF, I felt like I had to mold to something else. And it wasn't until I found La Casita and the Alumni Association and the Hispanic students. So can you tell us a little bit about that? Like how La Casita was there then,
okay,
right?
what happened, I have to go back to our time. We had La Casita, a white little house by what is the music department now. And it was in the International Center. So between classes, we all, people went there and people from all over the world. And we always, that gave us such a happy memory that then I have to go back to the 90s when Dr. Neil Diaz and Dr. Juan Vitali and we thought of creating the Hispanic Alumni Association, but also we discussed to open La Casita. La Casita with the idea to have a place for Latins to go and relax and exchange ideas and study and whatever. We never thought we were going to have such a beautiful building like now. Yeah. But then I remember when we got the old little house, that the association, we bought the furniture for the first one.
Wow.
And planned, and we made it very nice and so on. So I've been very, very involved with the whole, with the association and La Casita.
Yeah. So what do you think about La Casita now versus what it was before? What you guys were able to make?
Well, I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful building. I mean, of course, with the COVID, I haven't seen it for a year and a half, but I think the last homecoming was like 2 years ago that when they inaugurated La Casita, that I was there, and I mean, it's very, very nice.
Yeah, so. No, and what they've done to it, I think that as the program starts to grow and COVID starts to come back down, I welcome everybody that's watching us to go by La Casita and spend some time drinking cafecito and say hi to Bianca.
Well, I'll be going. I got to go back because I feel like I'm waking up from a 2-year dream because I always travel the world and, suddenly I'm stuck in a sense, because it's almost like a fear. I have a house in Aruba and I haven't been there for almost 2 years because I'm afraid, that something happened and, you look, I feel like you lose I've been to Singapore by myself. I've been to Egypt. I've never been afraid of anything. And now it's like, well, what about if I get there and I get sick? And, so it's always that little thing. But
Amalia, how did you become this world traveler after coming to Gainesville? I mean, being born and raised in Cuba.
I'm very curious, and I love history. I have a history major, and I wanted to see firsthand,
Yeah.
things. So I traveled most of the states, but then all Latin America, but Middle East, to Egypt, China, Thailand, Singapore, whatever. And I done some of them by myself. It's like I was like the third one in the family, and I was the little Amalia who couldn't do much. And suddenly, I got this whatever confidence that I could travel. And well, of course, my family in Spain, I went every year to Spain. So you become the more you do it, the easier it becomes. And what I always told my students is don't wait to have money. When you're young, I did with a backpack, safe. 1973 with two of my sisters. And we went Italy, Spain, and Paris. And from then, it's like you get, oh my gosh, I got to go back. And then I did Mexico, and then becomes like, and then I wanted my kid. I had 2 children, and I wanted that my ex-husband was German American, and I wanted the kids to really learn Spanish. So every summer, I took them to Spain to see the family for a month. So I was blessed. And that's one of the reasons that I think I have mentioned that I used to be the supervisor of foreign languages for the county and ISO, but I had to work 12 months. And at that time, my husband had started an environmental engineering company.
Your husband, who is also a Gator grad from environmental
yeah.
engineering?
Yeah, the first class of environmental engineering at UF. And then we decided that somebody had to be with the kids. So I resigned the supervisory position, and basically I went to teach at I could have done the university, but they couldn't guarantee, the classes and the timing. And I wanted to be home. The kids were 4 and 5 years old, and I wanted to be home when I was there. I didn't wanted to give them a key. So basically I gave up that, and I taught in the morning in Gainesville High School part-time for 28 years.
Wow.
And I will go to the business in the afternoon.
That's awesome. Amalia, let's stop there for a second, because I think your advice to the young students that are joining us and that are part of the UF Caimanes Instagram, because this is an Instagram based, and really the main goal for bringing Amalia and having these conversations is to gain the experience and to gain the things that, and learn from you and the things that you have done that have made you the successful person that you are in the Gran Caiman, that you, as a past Gran Caiman. But so your advice there was travel now, and that's such a great thing. And to be able to discover the world now before, when I get old, when I retire.
That's right. I always said that. Don't wait to have money, because when you're young, you can stay in a $10, a student housing or whatever. I have been in the best places and the very poor places, but according to the age. See, now I don't want to go back and have a stay in Florence in a boarding that we paid $2 in 1973. You know what I'm saying? But you are young, you have to do it. And I'm telling you that the more you do it, you get the confidence that is okay. And you open up to the people. That's what I always say. People say, are you Cuban? No, I'm a citizen of the world, like Plato said, because I love people from all over.
That is such a great
I'm very open.
A citizen of the world.
Right. And I was going to do a blog. My son wanted me to do a blog. I say, it's going to be called Senior Citizen of the World. Because I like to write and talk about, like, in China, but it's also, I'm telling you that this COVID have damaged me a little, because I'm becoming a chicken now. I'm afraid to travel out of the country. And I got to start doing it again, because it's confidence. And if you don't do it, and also, for me, first of all, is do what you love.
Yeah.
I love teaching, and like I said to you, I had a Ph.D., I was a supervisor, blah, blah, blah. I love the classroom, and I went back to it. Do what you want, even if it's a cutting pay or in prestige.
Yeah.
And also be involved. I've been on the Catholic Charity Board, the Vietnamese board, when the Vietnamese refugee, Gainesville Women's Club, everything, the University National Board for 10 years. And that, it gives you purpose.
Yeah. Purpose is so important. Yeah.
Oh, I retired 10 years ago. And the thing that I miss the most is that I don't have purpose. Yeah. It's like, playing golf, heck, I'm not good at that. Now I'm learning pickleball, I'm learning ukulele. It's like after doing so much. And that's when once COVID is gone, I'm going to go back to La Casita and say hello.
Yeah, no, and we would love to have you. And
Well,
and I think as we connect with you and continue to have students and young alumni too, I think myself included, coming up and going through the program, having mentors like you and that have gone through this and say, hey, like, don't work to live, like live
yeah,
to like, or the other way around, live to work to live. It's so
yeah.
important to have that
Right.
passion
That
and
doesn't
that
mean that you
giving.
don't have. I lost my daughter. She died.
Yeah.
She got the first scholarship with money that we gave La Casita, the Hispanic alumni. Then when she died, I had a scholarship on her name. She died 17 years ago at 27. She was a UF graduate and a Cicerone. And for me, my life was devastated, and you keep going.
Yeah.
So resilience, you need to be resilient.
That
And
resiliency,
some people don't have that. And I
yeah,
have it
and
because
that
I
is so
love young
important.
people.
Okay,
Yeah.
go.
I mean,
And that is so important too. And that's a
no,
lot of
something
things
like
that
that
the
can kill
students.
you. I mean,
Yeah.
people say, how come I went back to work in a week. I went back to teaching, and the kids came out, Dr. Alvarez, because I will cry in the middle of the class, but it helped me to move on.
Yeah.
So
No.
I know everybody can do that. But
Yeah.
I love the young people, and I'm so proud of so many of you, and I'm always defending the young people when people say, oh, the new generation. It's like, no, great people. Great.
No, that we're definitely excited about that. Amalia, tell us a little bit about the organization. So you were telling me before we got on the live about how you and Nils Diaz and how the organization came to play.
Okay, I was in the national board. I was a board member and so on. And Dr. Nils Diaz, he was a nuclear engineer, very well known. He was President Bush put him as a director of the Nuclear Energy Commission. And we're all old, And Juan Vitali from Venezuela and we decided that to start a UF Alumni Association. By that time, we were probably 7,000 alumni Hispanic.
Hispanic
And
alumni.
we started doing the Guateque to raise funds for scholarships. And we had Guateque where we had 800 alumni. I mean, and we raised thousands of dollars. And now for 2 years we didn't have it, and we're going to have it June 4th.
We are so excited to host it on June 4th. After 2 years of being gone, we're going to be honoring two Gran Caimans, and that's actually one of the main reasons we have Amalia here today joining us, because our Gran Caiman is really this person that has done so much for the association and so much for Hispanic alumni and Hispanic students. And so we'll be hosting our Gator Guayabera Guateque. I was explaining what the Guayabera Guateque was to one of my colleagues, and she's like, I don't even know how to say Guateque.
A Guateque was more or less the fiestas that they used to do in the farms. In Cuba. More or less. But here, we use the Guateque because it was like you had the pork, they would have
the roasted pork on
music and cigars and all that, but it was almost always in the farm. So
they had the guitars, the ukulele. They had all of that music. I remember my dad loves all of that Polo Montañer and all of these like Spanish singers that would be from La Finca and all of that part of it.
So that's what the word Guateque is, and it's been fantastic, And I was very proud. I'm the first woman to get the Gran Caiman.
The first woman to get the Gran Caiman, the first woman Ph.D., Hispanic woman Ph.D. coming out of the University of Florida.
A lot of firsts.
A lot of firsts. You're like a trailblazer, Amalia.
I don't know. I think people know that I'm an open book, and I tell it as it is, and I love the young people, and the University of Florida made my life. If I hadn't been there, well, I would have been probably in Miami, which is nice too, but it was an experience, and because there were so many Latins, I learned to be around people from all over the world. I was
Yeah.
secretary for the Council of International Organization. That was the Arab Club, the Hindu Club, the Thailandese Club, the Mexican Club. So basically, I never knew anybody from the Middle East or something, and I learned through that.
Yeah.
And that's one thing
It was,
that I think is missing now a little, because there's so many Hispanic that people are not meeting the other international students or even the American students.
yeah.
You know, so
It's the,
I
the
think you have to be
amalgamation.
open.
Yeah.
I think you
It's
have
like
to be
bringing
open to
everybody
people.
together, bringing
Yeah.
everybody together to create the sense of community, worldwide
Yeah.
community. And that's something
Yeah,
that,
be curious about what other people eat, what people dance, you know. So I've
yeah.
been blessed on that because I love to learn. And I'm 75 and I'm still curious about the world. So,
No,
hopefully,
that's awesome. Amalia,
yeah.
tell us a little bit about your time at UF. And so you did your undergrad in education.
Right, but then, here I go. For more prestige, I changed to art and science for the graduate school for my master and PhD, because that's the PhD, And while doing that, I got the major in Portuguese and I got the major in history. I got the Latin American studies, which became a master later. And then after my PhD, I did supervision administration. I feel like you got to keep learning. And because I was in Gainesville, how can I not take advantage of that, of learning more? Be curious about the world, be curious about society. But I was telling you that we were very poor, And that goes to the girls here, the Cuban boys, very nice, but they didn't have any money to take us to dinner. At that time, there were five boys to one girl. So when I got there, first of all, girls could not wear slacks. Look at how conservative the university was. 3 years later, then it went crazy, But I remember going out for coffee breaks with the Cuban boys. But for Friday and Saturday, because we needed to be invited to dinner, I will go out with the Venezuelans or the Colombians or the kids that had the money. So even then, you have to be smart and select who are you going to go out with. But we were very, very good. We were good girls, Hey, my father with 4 daughters, I had my first boyfriend at 22 at the University of Florida. So that tells you.
And in Cuban, they call it la chispa cubana, or like the Cuban grit. So how to make something out of nothing and turning things around.
Yeah,
and that's
you do
such
the
a great
best
thing.
you can. And I remember, when we came from Cuba, that we didn't have any. The only thing we had was the clothes that we had on and one more. And my mom will go to the church and get clothes of donations of big ladies. She will take the clothes, iron it, wash it, and make us outfits. And now I just love to dress because there was a period I was in high school. We were not fashionable at all. And when I started teaching at UF, as soon as I started my master, I was teaching 2 classes. Oh my gosh! Every weekend I had a new outfit. So,
wow.
Oh yeah, no. I always feel like we need to, we have to
look
dress presentable, because people then don't look down at you. I don't care if they look down at me, but they're not going to look down at me because I haven't tried my best.
That is so important. And my mom would always do the same. You are not going to leave la casa looking estrujada. Estrujada is wrinkled. And that for me has been such that inculcation of information and saying, okay, you will dress for success and you will feel good. That's such a great thing for you as well.
Yeah. No, but it was a clash of cultures. Because, for example, I was engaged to get married, and then I will go to Miami, and I had to go out with a chaperone. And then I will live with my boy. I never moved with him, by the way. Let me clarify. But, I mean, they would not let us out to go out alone, and I could go alone in Gainesville.
Yeah.
So it was very hard for our parents. Not yours, because you're young. But for my parents, it was very, very difficult to deal with the freedom that the girls had in this country.
Yeah, so, such an interesting thing. You talk about, so we're both Hispanic, but now we've always been women. So being for me, at least being a young Hispanic female in a male-driven world, in engineering, at least for me.
Oh my God, I'm so proud of you because you're
It's such,
an engineering. Oh boy.
but I think that same mentality of how much, what is your ceiling and how much can you achieve, and the limitations that the male-driven society has put on that. And I definitely see you and being a trailblazer and being able to say, okay, I will go do that because I do deserve to be here, and I will dress professionally, and I have
That's
a seat
right.
at the table. It's so
And,
important.
and as a teacher, I wanted my kids to see me dress professionally. Because there were other teachers that will go, flip flop, and it's fine, that's their life. But at least from me, they will see what a profession should look, but should look like.
Amalia, one last question. I am so appreciative of your time. I want to ask you one last thing before we go. So we have the Gator Gran Caiman applications due next week. What do you see as the most important thing when you were nominated and awarded the Gran Caiman? What was the most important thing that you saw? I'm like, oh my goodness, this is so exciting for me because.
Well, for me, it was an honor, but they consider not only what I did for the University of Florida, but what I did for the community. It's a combination. It's a person that inspires others. Even the lows and the bad. And, my life, I always say some people's life is very like this. Mine has been highs and lows. Losing my daughter was a low, or living in Cuba, I never saw my grandmother, things like that. And you keep going. But the Gran Caiman, I think, represents a combination of, I think, your profession, the love for the university. I mean, I love it. And the community, and do the best you can and inspire other young people to. Like I always told people, hey, listen to my accent. If I was able to make it, you all can make it better. So that's basically always been my slogan,
That's a great slogan to have. No, I believe in what you're saying because I tell my students the same thing. I am the biggest champion of women and Hispanics and minorities. I think those that may not have the same chance and the same seat at the table. And I think if people like us can do it, it just takes that little bit of effort, little bit
but you have to be careful because I never felt like a minority. I felt so proud of what I did. You know what I'm saying? I never felt that heaviness that, oh, I'm a minority. No. I'm going to do the best I can, whoever I am. I always tell people cannot take away your color or your place of birth and so on. But if you have the opportunity, just prove that you can do it. And people will respect you for that.
Just do good work.
That's what I say. Don't feel, that, everybody is guilty for my situation. Hey, work on it. Because the opportunities are there. We have a lot of opportunity for minorities, and basically that's my thing, Don't feel sorry for yourself. Just get up and work. And 100%. Be open and be honest.
Yeah. And the Association of Hispanic Alumni, which is why we're having this charla tonight, and we're hoping to have many more charlas with other Gran Caimans, and we hope to have you back as well and see you at the Gator Guayabera Huateca. Next week, we're talking to Joe Hernandez, who is another Gran Caiman. The opportunities that we're creating here are specifically for that. How do we create more opportunities, the scholarships? And that's why the organization was, the Association of Hispanic Alumni was put together to be able to bring in funds for students. So for example, next, at the end of this week, we have our student scholarship program. So if you're interested, check out our webpage and at the UF Gran Caiman. And for those that are watching us, if you're a student at the University of Florida, any major, as long as you have Hispanic background, you can apply and get funding to continue doing your work and to be continuing making significant changes in society.
Right. Be a leader.
The organization.
Be a leader as best as you can. And you don't have to be a leader in big things. In little things, you can be a leader. So just prove that you're the greatest.
We are so excited to have had you. Thank you so much for everybody watching us. We'll have another charla next Wednesday around 7 o'clock. Join us then. This charla will be saved and we can share it Thank you so much, Amalia, for joining us today.
Okay.
Nos vemos en el
Yeah,
en
arriba
la casita.
Caimanes, go Gators.
Go Gators.
Bye. Good night.
Bye.
Bye, bye.